Hi, I'm Jamie Baker. I'm here with Scott Cottos, Andy Wolf. We're here for week 2 of the Review Times Chalk Talk, and a lot to talk about this week. Probably the biggest thing we need to talk about is the Redmen. How about those Redmen?
Came out of the gates pretty fast. Put up 35 points and beat Oak Harbor pretty handily. Skylar Garcia threw for 404 yards, 5 touchdowns, and Coach Kidwell was counting on him to be a weapon, and he showed it from the get-go. So they'll have to see if they can ride that for 9 more weeks. But if he throws for 400 yards weekly, which is going to be hard to do,
Right.
they'll be in good shape.
Well, they should be in good shape the next couple weeks anyway, with Scott this week and Stritch the following week before they open NBC play. So it's really a chance for them to get some momentum going, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think what they probably were concerned about last week a little bit was the defense, but I think that's going to be a concern more than the offense, most of the season. So that's been a concern the last few years. He thinks they're better this year. They'll have to show it. So giving up 18 points to Oak Harbor is a good start. So as long as you put up 35 weekly, you're in good shape.
All right. All right. The other big game on the local schedule is Elmwood at Hopewell Loudon. Andy saw Hopewell Loudon last week, and the injury bugs already bet Hopewell Loudon in Big White.
We talk about how good of shape Fostoria is with their quarterback. Hopewell Loudon, not so much. They lost Zach Creus, a honorable mention all-conference performer last year. On the first series of the game, he was playing some safety too. Into the fire goes true freshman Luke Jamison, and you could tell Calvert was going to focus on stud running back Sam Stickley as well. Sam Stickley still had a great game, but they didn't quite have that extra dimension with Luke Jamison, and now he's very likely going to be starting against another quarterback who saw his first action last week in Jonah Childress. Neither of them were too successful. Jamison threw 3 picks, Childress threw 4 picks. The difference maker, I think, to me, has to be Sam Stickley, because Elmwood doesn't quite have that kind of talent at back yet. They had about 29 rushing yards against Gibsonburg. They both kind of came off tough losses against playoff teams. So you can kind of have to say this one's going to have to come down to which quarterback probably plays better.
It should be an interesting ball game. Elmwood's still in the rebuilding stages. Greg Bishop's trying to get things going over there, and I think he will eventually, but it really is going to take some time. But hopefully they can get the job done. There's a couple other local games on the schedule. Arcadia takes on Ridgemont, and that's a winnable game for probably both teams. Arcadia lost to Hard Northern last week in a game they were close at halftime with, and then Hard Northern kind of pulled away. So this might be one of the more winnable games on their schedule, where they're kind of riding a losing streak right now. Horizon Science, one we're familiar with all-time St. Welland played them, take on Van Loo. And the other local game on the schedule is Van Buren at Bluffton. Should be an interesting game. Van Buren's got to get some offense going. They kind of struggled last week against Cary, but we'll see what they can do against a pretty good Bluffton offense. So that'll wrap up week 2 of Review Times Chalk Talk. You can get all the coverage of Saturday's games in the Review Times.